Hello, LinkedIn friends. This is Vivek Kuchibutler from BFC Ideas. And today I'd like to talk to you about creative goalposts. What are they and why will they help you get to better creative and do so faster? According to the Better Briefs Project, 78% of marketers believe they provide clear strategic direction in their briefs, but only 5% of agencies agree. And anyone who spent any time working in an agency will know that sadly, these numbers ring true. This is tragic, and it only leads to endless rounds of rework, creative by committee, and tension in the relationship. So I believe the disconnect exists because marketers write briefs with a focus on strategy, often going heavy on the jargon and the marketing words. This is handed over to agency planners who are then charged with translating and simplifying this document and turning it into something that is both on strategy and inspiring. Unfortunately, a lot gets lost in translation and in the back and forth, and the process is generally frustrating to everybody. So, setting creative goalposts will help solve this problem specifically. What are the goalposts? The goalposts are an agreement between the marketer and the agency on what the creative product should look like. Importantly, the goalposts should provide direction but not mandate execution. But once they're defined, the agency agrees not to present anything that's outside the goalposts, and the marketer agrees not to approve anything that are outside either. So where do they come from? Well, the best way to illustrate this is with some examples. I have 5 approaches to finding goalposts. I'm not saying they're the only ones, but it's a start. So let's look at the first one. The first one is the owner's vision. And I have 2 examples to illustrate. The first one is the very famous Apple Think Different manifesto. This was written when Apple was on the verge of bankruptcy. Windows and Intel controlled the market, and Apple decided, or Steve Jobs decided, that they were going to be different. They were going to act different. Their products were going to look different. They were going to speak differently, and they were going to think differently from the competitors. And they've been wildly successful over the years. Another example of the owner's vision is a Mercedes-Benz and the best or nothing manifesto. The best or nothing cuts across product, pricing, advertising, features, dealers, anything that has contact with the consumer needs to be the best of the best. And this has guided Mercedes successfully for many years. So that's the owner's vision. Another way to find goalposts is if you're lucky enough or smart enough to have an iconic campaign that just transforms the business. A couple of examples. Dove Real Beauty has been running for 15 years, and it's one of the most successful communications campaigns of the last of this century, probably. They've defined their direction and they've stuck with it and they've been successful. Another brand that came to an iconic campaign was Snickers with the "you're not you when you're hungry" approach. And again, they've stuck to it. It's been successful. And everyone knows that when you see some Dove advertising or when you see some Snickers advertising, it's going to be, to paraphrase, to use Mark Ritson's words, always different, but always the same. This is the holy grail of advertising, the big idea. Another approach to finding your goalposts is to look at the advertising you've done over the years. McDonald's is a great example of this. They've been doing this for decades now, across many markets and across many different product categories. Their advertising is always grounded in food, folks, and fun. Again, amazingly consistent. Another approach for creative goalposts is to find a tone of voice. And the classic example of this is Old Spice, which was a dying brand and found a tone of voice, a way of connecting with the consumer that was hugely successful. Their tone of voice is quirky, irreverent, and satirical. It's very consistent through their advertising, and it's proven to be, again, very effective in connecting with their consumers. Finally, the last of my suggestions on how to find goalposts is by making a strategic choice. And an example of this would be Burger King. Burger King, for many years, understood that it could not compete with McDonald's, spending the same types of budgets. They didn't have the money. And McDonald's was the leader with a clearly defined positioning. So Burger King decided to get more bang for their advertising bucks by choosing to pursue award-winning advertising. So they're spending less money, but for each dollar spent, they're getting a bigger bang for the buck. Strategic decision. So those are five approaches to start defining your goalposts. There's no one solution. What's crucial here is that the marketer and the agency have this discussion, come to a mutually satisfying direction, and stick with it over time. It'll be well worth the effort. One final point. The marketer will always have the final decision, but should not force the agency to agree to his demands on the goalposts. After all, the agency, it's their job to turn the strategy words into persuasive ideas, and this has a much better chance of happening if they're fully bought in on the goalposts. So that is my message for today. If you're interested in learning a little bit more about the programs we offer to train marketers, or the programs we offer to train agencies, or how we can get marketer and agency to work more efficiently together, please visit www.pfcideas.com or drop me a line. Thank you very much, and I will talk to you soon.